Hello, welcome back to another episode. I'm Emmett.
And I'm JJ.
And this is the Creativity Crew.
I think that's like the third time you've done that.
No. The last time I did the John Cena one.
Okay.
I have to switch it up every time.
Yeah.
We don't have an official intro, so. It's been a while.
Yeah.
It seems like that keeps happening.
Yeah. It hasn't been as long this time.
No, it's a shorter amount of time.
Yeah.
But as always, it's because I put it off, so. How are you, JJ?
I
haven't...
have not been feeling like I've been existing for the past 3 days, so I guess I'm okay.
Yeah, I haven't seen you really at all today because I've been sleeping most of the day.
Yeah, I've just been binge watching Steven Universe again all day.
That's fair. Oh, but I was telling you I did see you in the deep sleep dimension.
Yeah.
Which, for those of you who don't know, that's basically like very deep REM sleep. But it's often in layers. Like, I'll often have these like deep layered dreams where I'll literally like fall asleep and wake up within the dream and then within that dream, and it's like crazy. But I fell asleep in the deep sleep dimension and JJ was there. So that was kind of like the weird thing was that it was literally taking place like here in this room, but like dreamscape-ish. It kind of like, it's interesting how like in the dreamscape version everything's like bigger, and when I think back on it, there's this weird like fuzzy aura around like the edges. Like you're only focused on a certain part of it, so it feels like the space is so much bigger and you're not really seeing anything past it. But logically that it's your bedroom, so you're filling that in like in the dream. But anyways, so you were there, we were on the bed, and I remember at one point we were like laughing ourselves silly because the bed kept like lopsided to one side. What's that word? Tilting. The bed kept tilting whenever like you would get on it, and then I would get on it, and it would just tilt back and forth.
And we were just playing seesaw?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but we were doing that with my ex-girlfriend on the phone. Which, for those of you listening, that relationship did not end well. I had to cut it off because she was toxic. But she was on the phone, and she had like her, I guess, boyfriend on the phone as well. I remember his name started with a J, but I don't remember anything other than that. And they were inviting us to some kind of like church event. She was inviting us to like come over and like spend the night there and like basically just like meditate.
Okay, I don't actually like that because I've been having church nightmares.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Huh.
I had a nightmare like 2 nights ago where I was going into the cellar and got chased by this demon thing. But it was one of those ones where like you're crawling, like you're very sluggish, and like I would talk more about it, but I don't want to give anybody else nightmares.
Did the demon say that that it had to message you on Skype frequently and
No.
that you had to check in frequently?
No, it did not.
It's not Laura.
No.
Oh, I shouldn't be saying her name.
You already had.
Yeah, that's true. Look, there are many Lauras in this world. Yeah, so it was like it was weird because it was like realistic, but also it wasn't, and I would like fall asleep within the dream and then wake up, and then she'd still be on the phone, and I'm like, that's a little weird. And then at one point I remember like I would wake up repeatedly, and every single time I'd wake up I would be so fucking tired and exhausted that I would just fall back asleep. And at one point I remember having like the thought that didn't really feel like a me thought of like, well, it's better there, so why don't I just go back anyways? Which is like, that's not a thought you want to have when you're in that deep sleep. Like, you don't want to stay there.
No.
That's a tourist location only.
Yeah, no. When you're in the deep sleep, you want to get out.
Yeah. Especially when,
I know I've been having like my own, like this morning even, I was like real sluggish, like, and in the deep sleep, like I couldn't move. Like I've been having those.
Did I tell you about the apocalypse dream I had?
No.
Oh, maybe.
Bless you, baby.
Because tight, Peggy. She's under the table. No, I told Kelly. Yeah, so I had an apocalypse stream, which is
Mm-hmm.
now the second one, like, questionably in a row. I know I had, no, not in a row, but the second one I've had, like, as of late.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, I was, you know, in this like character's body. I think it may have been the character from Underwater. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But like this woman with like a like very shaved to her head haircut.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like the her like character arc, I suppose, was that she needed to like make choices for herself.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember at one point she was like waiting to be called into like this like spaceship terminal, except it wasn't a spaceship because it was all on Earth and it was basically like another building, and also the building resembled my high school. But anyways, so basically the gist of it was like she has been chosen to dock this spaceship to leave Earth because the world is actually ending. One thing I remember very clearly is that at one point we had gotten outside, and again we're like literally just on the ground. It's almost like this whole spaceship terminal thing is taking place within my high school, but it's not the context of the high school.
Yeah.
And actually, now that I think about it, I think it wasn't even my high school. I think it was the school that I worked at for Champions.
Mm.
But anyways, one thing I remember very vividly was that when we went outside, there was blood coming down from the sky. And I remember someone saying like, yeah, that's because there's literally so many like dead bodies that had gotten into the water cycle. So I'm
Mm.
like, that's freaky. But anyways, so I'm playing this character, and at one point she's like waiting to be called to be moved to this terminal, and then she's realizing like, you know, the gravity is changing and like shit's like getting fucked up, and she's like, oh my god, like I'm gonna die if I stay here. So she decides to move on her own, and then the like jackass captain is like, oh, we were wondering where you were. And she's like, you said you were gonna call us, and he's like, you guys could just come on your own, like that kind of
Yeah.
assholery. So she's like, okay. And then there's another part where suddenly there's like something happening like on this ship, quote unquote. But you know, then like everyone's like running outside, and she's trying to figure out like where to run because the dream turns into a maze situation where I'm trying to figure out, trying to make those like snap decisions of like where to go, what door, what hallway. And so she like loses sight of the person in front of her, so she can't follow that person, so she has to make her own choice.
Mm.
It ends up being the right one, fortunately. It was just a whole big thing.
Mm.
But uh, ending that tangent, it's been another apocalypse dream. So I woke up, and that was kind of like sticking with me a bit, you know, because
Mm.
that really the blood thing was lingering the most, like that, because
Yeah.
I could feel it on the back of my neck.
No, I know what you mean. I've had those the demon one I mentioned, like I could feel being in the church. I
Yeah.
could feel being Jace. Like those are the ones that yeah.
Yeah. So I will say I don't know for a fact if she said it was at a church. I think maybe my mind is supplanting that. I'm not sure, but she did invite us both to like go and meditate with them.
Mm.
And I was like, I think I'll pass.
Yeah.
So,
Whack ass dreams.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, so I've kind of just been asleep most of the day. Um, After everything that happened yesterday, I feel like it just took something out of me.
Should we talk about what happened
I
yesterday?
think we should.
Yeah.
Because, well, first of all, thank you for licking my feet, Peggy. It, ugh, that's
For those curious,
uncomfortable.
Peggy's a foot licker.
She's a foot licker. Oh, all right.
This is gonna be good auditory.
ASMR, but it's me reacting to Peggy licking in between my toes. Oh no, she's licking her own. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, my plan for the day was to be a productive, functional human being. Got up at a decent time. I got up at 11:30. I walked my dog. I fed my dog, and I was like, you know, I checked my messages. And when I checked my messages, there were like three asks. Two of them were like, you know, mundane stuff that I could very easily answer. One of them was like, "Are you on Discord?" I just said, "Yup," because I'm not heading that out on my blog.
Yeah, no.
But so I noticed that the third one, the first thing I saw was that it linked a comic I did with Marion Logan, which is a incestuous comic. And the moment I saw the link, I was like, oh no. And sure enough, it was some anonymous hate asking what the fuck was wrong with me because they were accusing me of drawing and spreading child porn, which is not the case because if you look up the definition of child porn, it is actual identifiable minors, not fictional characters. And they asked, what the fuck is wrong with you? And the funniest thing that they said was, why do you still have a platform? Like, I'm a fucking, like, influencer. Which, I shouldn't laugh, but, like, that's so funny.
I mean, to be fair, you do have a bit of a platform.
Like, I'm not denying that I do.
But it's still just funny.
It's just funny when you phrase it like that.
Yeah.
Because, like, you could say everyone has a platform because the platform is the website itself, right?
Yeah.
But to phrase it in such a way where you're like, it's like someone in the TikTok comment sections being like, why do you still have a platform?
Yeah.
So that happened, and, you know, I responded to that as I do. I blocked the person. I thought I could block them and find out who it was, but Tumblr no longer gives you that ability. So that was a bust. But I blocked them, and I just said, like, hey, feel free to unfollow me. I mean, you did. I blocked you now. And also, here's the real definition of child porn. So, great. Thanks. Hope that helps. And then I had a bunch of really lovely people sending me support, just, like, pretty much, you know, on the same terms as me, just like, why do people not understand, like, if you don't like it, don't look, like, why do you feel the need to send a message, stuff like that. So that was really nice. And then during my day of, you know, productivity, I decide to do a commission stream because I'm like, I really, you know, got to work on commissions. Yesterday things got really, like, fucked up, so I work on commissions and then work on some Ko-fi rewards. And it is, as we are on stream, I think it's like the second hour or something.
Yeah.
JJ gets an ask.
I hear a buzz on my phone and I look down and it's like, you got an ask. And originally I'm like, oh, yay. And then it just says, are you a pro shipper? And I knew for a fact that Emmett had gotten, like, a couple days prior. It was like 4 days. I went and looked.
Yeah.
And asked about it, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
So I ended up bringing that up on stream that, like, hey, I'm gonna deal with this.
And let's give you all the play-by-play because I haven't actually gone into, like, detail with this, even though I, you know, like, responded to the, but. So here's what happened. Okay, so that happens, and you say that, and the first thing I think I said to you was, like, can you screen cap it? Because I want to compare the two.
Yeah.
And we compared them, and I saw that they were written exactly the same way, except mine had a tone indicator.
Because I'm assuming, because you use tone indicators frequently on your blog, I do not.
Yeah.
Even though I do use them, I just don't use them frequently.
Which, in retrospect, just, like, it's even more wild to me that, like, because usually when you think, like, oh, there's a troll in the community, it's just people, like, targeting people at random. But if you know my blog well enough to know that I use tone indicators, like, that's why it was just, like, really weird to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we compared the two, and I was like, okay. And then JJ, fucking brilliant response to this ask. And their cringy fire, which is still my favorite phrase. That whole thing, that was my favorite part.
My personal favorite is the second response in the I refuse to be burned in your holy pyre.
Yeah. You're really pulling out the Shakespeare. But yeah, JJ responded to that and stood his ground. And at that point, I was still, like, you know, I inherently, like, doubt myself. And I inherently try to give people the benefit of the doubt. So at that point, I was like, I put in my tags. I'm like, maybe that's not the same person. Maybe they don't have bad intentions. And if so, that is my mistake. But, like, this is sus.
And then I would think it was like 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes later that I got the second ask.
Yeah.
That was like, I'm not trying to stir up drama, this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, buddy.
Yeah. The excuse ask.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, no. We, like, it was me, Skittles, or V, um, it was Bean on stream, and then also Sparrow. I think Die left at that point.
Yeah, I put in the chat earlier that I was kind of glad they had hopped off because they were feeling overwhelmed, and I'm like, oh,
yeah,
it's for the best.
Oh yeah. Am I missing anyone? Was there anyone else there? Because I think.
I feel like there was, but I don't remember.
Because I don't think Fira was actually on stream. I think.
Yeah, no, I think it was you, me, V, Beans, and Sparrow. Yeah, because we were all on mic.
Yeah. So yeah, we all basically were like, well, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Because, like, first of all, why would you need to ask? Like, you can clearly see, you can tell for yourself. And also, like, okay, that was kind of my first hang up, was like, why would you ask instead of just scrolling through the blog and making your own judgment?
Yeah.
And then, of course, like, as, we both thought, like, it seems like you're just kind of playing victim after someone didn't give you the response you wanted.
Yeah.
But then things progressed from there.
Where we found out that not just we had gotten it, but multiple people in the community had been getting those asks and then got the response asks. Yeah. I got the shiny version. I got the one that just said uncomfortable, not disgusted.
Yeah, so there's the shiny version of the excuse ask where it's like, oh, people like that just make me uncomfortable. Then there's the nasty version, which I got, and I think a few other people, that say, those people make me uncomfortable and disgusted. And it's like, and then they add, I'm sorry.
I don't know how else to say it.
I don't know how to say it without being rude. Like, that's because you can't. You literally can't. Yeah. Like, and that's why I said in my response, like, maybe just leave it at uncomfortable. Maybe don't add the disgusted part, because that's a little too much. Yeah. But, so, like, it was at that point, at some point, I had gotten the excuse ask, and all this new information was, like, coming in as I was, like, typing my response to this person. And I was, like, it affected JJ as well. Like, I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Not super big, but I will just say that, like, I have a lot of social paranoia, so this also is really fun for that. I mean that lovingly and in a positive way.
Yeah.
But, like, it was a lot. Like, I was on stream, and I'm super grateful that you guys were there with me, because had you guys not been, I probably would have been freaking out.
Yeah. No, I'm really glad that it was on stream with the people that it was, because I have had, like, I don't know if I call it social paranoia, but I'm very, like, internet paranoid just because of personal experiences. Back in, like, the height of my fandom days, when I was in the Markiplier fandom, I had a popular Discord server, which I can say it was 100+ members, and most of them were active. Yeah. And a few times we ended up getting trolled, and people, like, entering the server just to send pictures of people's triggers, just to, like, spam and, like, be disruptive. So, in that situation, that was a situation where I felt personal responsibility, because I had the link out public, like, anyone could join, because I was just that trusting at the time. And so now I have this situation again where, to my knowledge, like, all that I have to work with is that I got sent this ask, and now all of a sudden people who support me or support my content, people who have, like, reblogged things publicly, like, agreeing with me on the Proshipper thing, are now getting these asks. So I was definitely going into an anxiety spiral, because it's like, oh my God, like, what have I done? Like, that kind of moment.
Yeah.
Even though logically, like, that's not the case, and you're not responsible, but like, anxiety is not logical.
Yeah.
So I was definitely like trying not to flip my lid
Yeah.
on that. And then I posted a warning in my WUMP server, and there were people who came on and they were responding. And then I think it was not an alien that said, um, I've seen this before. It
Yeah.
happened to you.
And I know you later got an ask saying this person has done it in multiple
Yeah.
communities.
Assuming it is the same person, because I don't know, I don't have the ask to compare, but
Yeah.
yeah. So that definitely helped. But it was like, whew, you
Yeah.
know? Because I mean, the other thing with anxiety is that, you know, not only do you spiral, but you tend to catastrophize. So
Mhm.
my brain was taking me down like a sniper wolf route where like I
Yeah.
would end up like finding out someone was like outside of like, you know, our home or something, or like some wild shit like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was freaky. Um, but yeah, so basically, I ended up responding to the person with the excuse ask that they sent me. I have not gotten a response, but
Neither have I, so.
I know that demon damage. Did you hear that?
Yeah. I think Kelly's out of the shower, so that might be Kelly.
Is she like calling someone? Because I thought I heard a phone.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. I know Demon Damage just got one because V DM'd me this morning. Was like, "Hey, Demon Damage got the Proshipper." So they're still doing it.
Yeah.
Um,
I guess we're just not good enough for a response.
no,
Mm-hmm.
probably too long didn't read in my case. Man, I kept, you know, I always envision like just critics in my head. So
Mhm.
I always like imagine that the kind of ask that I'll get
Mhm.
just based on like any given thing that I do or don't do.
Mhm.
So I kept imagining people sending me like too long didn't read asks and just like formulating my responses, which would basically equate to like fuck you.
Mhm.
Fuck off. But yeah, so like that happened, and there went my productivity.
Yeah.
Because it took up so much time.
We were like trying to figure out like who else had gotten the ask and like waiting for a response for like I want to say like 2 hours.
Yeah, V went on full detective mode, which
Yeah.
I'm glad she was having fun with it because it was really funny.
Yeah.
And then she got someone being like very salty with her.
Mm.
It was like, why are you trying to figure out who's getting the ass? Don't you have a life? Like, mind your own business. That's
Yeah.
just like, go away. You don't need to comment.
But yeah, so that was yesterday's excitement.
Yep. And
it has been 20 minutes.
yeah, I was gonna say we'll cut it off there because you know it's 6:30. Yeah, it's been like 30 minutes actually. Has it been 20?
It's been 20.
It's been 20. Okay. So yeah, that was yesterday. And today I woke up and I felt absolutely drained.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I don't really have a segue for today's topic.
I do.
Oh yeah?
Because well, not because of the person like who was saying bad shit about our stuff, like we're gonna uplift ourselves.
That's perfect. That's
Exactly.
beautiful. Oh, love
We're
that.
gonna talk about each other's works and what we like about them and like specific ones, like kind of like our favorite ones.
Yeah. Not necessarily delving into like every single one shot that we've done because
Yeah.
that would be a lot to cover.
Yeah.
But definitely like AU's stories, concepts, ideas, stuff like
Yeah.
that. And just to throw it out there, we have not had anyone like recommend us any work to look at yet. So just putting it out there that feel free to send any of your own work that you want us to review. You know, we will always send you the comments first, so you can approve if you want us to talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, just want to throw that out there.
Yeah. I know this one. I know last podcast was my idea, but this one was also my idea. But it felt mutually right.
Yeah.
So I think we figured out 3 we're definitely gonna talk about.
Yeah.
Each.
Yeah.
And I also have some extras just in case and some honorable mentions because I find it so funny, the honorable mention and one of the top ones, and I'll explain that when we get to it.
You have a longer list than I thought you would.
I know. To be fair, I love a lot of your works.
Oh, thank you.
I've been here since the Teddygram.
That is true. That JJ can say, "Do not cite the." What's the meme? Do not cite.
Do not cite the ancient magics to me.
Yeah, do not cite the ancient magics to me, wench. Yeah, JJ's been here since the beginning.
Yeah. To be fair, you have also been here since the beginning of my stuff, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I remember Ed.
Oh God, Ed.
Ed.
Oh. I purposely forget Ed.
We repress Ed.
We repress Ed and Emily.
You know what's really funny is that I would always refrain from commenting on that character in particular because it set off that bad person fear in me.
Yeah.
Which if I were to go back now, I'd be like, oh my god, yes, I'm all for this. But at the time, I just couldn't allow myself to be that way.
Yeah, he was a wumper turned wumpy.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing now that he turned into a wumpy, and by his own fucking wife, so that was fun.
Yeah. But yeah, since I talked for most of the small talk portion, do you want to start and then we'll bounce back and forth?
Sure. So I have specific ones that I want to talk about. I have no notes onto how to talk about them, so you're gonna get just bleh.
I'll probably have a bit to say.
So the first one I have written down is Icy. So it's complicated.
My baby!
Yes. And the reason I find it so funny is because Seal the Deal gets honorable mention.
Oh.
Which is funny to me because I actually played through, partway, a campaign that Emmett had put into, called The Four Families.
Mm-hmm.
A D&D campaign that was set in the It's Complicated universe. And when we started that, I had pretty much solely been known on the Seal the Deal characters, and I had nothing to know about Logan and Derek and David. I saw them in my peripheral, but they weren't really where I was oriented.
That was my plot all along.
I can confidently say, as much as I love Dirk and Malu, and they will always have a special place in my heart, I have found myself gravitating more towards Logan and Derek, which I did not expect. And I will say the Four Families definitely had a hand in it.
I'm glad. I'm really glad to hear that. It makes me feel, even though that campaign ended up being abandoned, it makes me feel even better that we ended up doing it. As short-lived as it was.
Yeah. Genuinely, it is probably one of the most fun campaigns I had. I definitely preferred that over the Chosen Ones. I'll tell you that much.
No, yeah. I
as much fun as I had with the Chosen Ones.
I 100% agree. But yeah, that's really good to know. I mean, people can't see it, but I'm doing the big cat grin.
But the other reason I made Seal the Deal honorable mention is I know you plan on revamping it.
Yeah.
And I haven't been privy as much to the new version. So I don't want to say, oh yes, I love this, and this, and have it not be canon anymore.
I actually have been going through, I haven't looked at them in depth, but a lot of the Seal the Deal pages have been on my old art tag. So as I'm going through to repost stuff, I see the old pages and I can appreciate them and I can respect them for what they were, but I look at that and I'm like, buddy, you did not have anything planned since past chapter 1. You did not know. You knew how the story was going to end. You didn't know how to get there.
Yeah.
So, and I was actually a anonymous person who inspired me to do the revamp because they were asking about Theodore. Mm-hmm. And I was like, the more I talk about him, the more I really, really want Theodore to be in the revamp. Mm-hmm. And of course, with the characterization of Cyrus and Cyrus becoming such a hugely important character, I just gotta like he's
Yeah.
gotta be there.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that. I haven't really paid it too much attention as of yet, but you know, I'll get there.
Yeah. But yeah, so to actually touch on the one that I want to touch
Yeah.
on, it's complicated. I have seen many of your different iterations for.
I always
I've
tell
seen
people I have a love-hate relationship with it's
I've
complicated.
seen the mob story, I've seen the disowned Logan, I've seen the sci-fi, the space mafia.
Yeah.
I've seen
The dictator Logan.
the dictator Logan. I will say, for anyone out there who has read it, I have not read the fic where Logan goes batshit crazy.
Oh yeah, the evil Logan one.
The evil Logan one. I have not read it because I can't bring myself to like see Derek die. But evil Logan is hot, and I will give you that.
He is. He's so unhinged.
He looks good with the beard.
He does, yeah. With the little I wouldn't call it a beard, but like
the goatee.
Yeah, goatee. Yeah.
My brain is saying like, oh yes, evil taking after his father.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Because he does also adopt red as his main color.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, fun little design elements.
Look, I'm a simple man. Give me facial hair, give me commanding, give me red. I'll bend over backwards and simp.
Good to know.
I mean, you've seen me, David.
Well, yeah.
But yeah. But I love how as they shift, the core of it stays the same. Mm-hmm. And I love the core of it. I love the identity crisis with Logan. I love Derek's identity crisis. I don't know if most people would call it an identity crisis, but he, to me, has an identity crisis of having to like confront who he is and what he knows in order to accept Logan for who he is and what he is. Mm-hmm. And like that's difficult too.
Yeah.
So I always love that portion of it. David. Moving on.
Just David. No
Calcio.
Yeah.
Moving on. I love your characterizations. That is overall, like across so many of your different AUs, I love the characterizations. That is something I love about your works.
Thank you.
That's pretty much all I wanted to say. Like, just I love It's Complicated and its core and whatever it will turn out to be.
I feel like at this point it really is complicated.
Yeah.
It's branched out into so many separate stories, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of people really really love the revamp with Android Logan and that whole the thing with like Cassius and whatnot, which I do as well. Like I love that too. But I also really love the original one before Cassius was created, before, androids were ever a thing. Like, I really want to do something with that one. So I really have been flip-flopping a lot, but I think at this point it's branched out into separate stories, but they all come from that same core and that same concept. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll have to see where it goes. I know right now I'm really trying to flesh out the original one more because it's my baby,
It is.
I started that one back in I think 2018, and to this date it has been the one story I have written like probably the most chapters for, because it got up to 25 chapters. Which I actually wanted to ask you, did you read the original or no?
I have not.
Okay. I only know two people who have. There's V, because she DM'd me about it, and she was like, Wumper Logan, he's so hot. Which, like, he 100% is. And Cepheus Galaxy, I know has read it, because I love reading their comments. I get so happy when I see the chain of notifs, and I get to go through all of them. It's like seeing a live reaction. But yeah, so thank you. That's really sweet. Um, for my part, I'll start with your most one of the most recent
Mm.
chapters you did for the Stay Down story, um, which is Dazel's rescue,
Mm-hmm.
and specifically part one, because that is like so far that is like one of my favorite things from you that you've written, aside from Octavian Membian. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. And I wrote down a few notes here.
Okay.
Some of these just kind of go for your writing in general because it still feeds into the story aspect, so bear with me.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to this piece of writing in particular, which by the way, if y'all haven't read it, I'll link it. Um, very awesome descriptions of like the action happening here. I remember, and I just reread it, but I remember reading the paragraph where Rupert is like touching Daisel in a very like such a specific way, and the way that you describe it paints such a vivid scene, which you're very good at doing in all of your stories. You're very good at painting a scene, which I think definitely comes from that mind eye that you have, which we've talked about. Um, but it's super immersive. Like I can literally see it happening. So I think that's one of your strong suits in any story that you have. So just this one in particular, I keep going back to that paragraph, and I'm like, oh, that's so good. And the part where Dazel is like, he's like putting himself together, and he's like putting the smile on his face, and he's like, welcome back, only to be cut off with the shut up. Like, it's so honeymooners, and it's so dystopian. I love that.
Thank you.
Like,
Genuinely, that was one of my favorite bits. Was the Rupert and Daisel back and forth of just broken Daisel.
I love that. Whereas I have a bit more problems with this. You don't shy away from the more like, I'm not sure how I want to put it. Like, harsh is not the right word, but like,
Temperamental.
okay, so like embarrassing also isn't the right word, but that like that secondhand embarrassment you get when your character is being like humiliated, or like something happens that your character thinks is going to succeed but doesn't.
Yeah.
Like that kind of beat, like the character is clearly like gearing up for something that they're used to and they think it's gonna be fine, and then the wumper is just like, shut up, like fuck you, like it's just so unabashedly cruel. Like that's something I really like with your work, is that you don't shy away from that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, cause yeah, I'm realizing like I do that a lot.
Yeah, like not to compare, but I tend to put a bit more like, I like hair wumpers. I put a bit more gentle spin on that. But you just fucking go balls to the wall, and I love that. I mean, there have been many concepts. I still remember hanging Diesel by his tail as a chandelier.
Yeah.
Like, ow! Like I would not think of that. So I really like that. I'm excited to see that in Dazel's story, even though we've gotten to the Mibium and Dazel section.
Yeah.
I imagine there's definitely going to be scenes I may even need to scroll past, because they're that like oof,
Yeah. I know something I really strive for in my writing is that emotional impact. For me, I know you love the psychology, I love the emotion.
Yeah.
I love the aftermath of Wump. So I do think I'm gonna be progressing forward from like Dazel's rescue and then have some of the caretaking, only to then later have some more hurt.
Yeah, of
But
course, naturally.
and definitely some flashbacks. But
The fuck?
horn honking.
Oh, we don't live by a train.
No, but I think something might have happened or something out
Oh,
there.
jeez.
Anyway.
Yeah, I think in this chapter in particular, your specialty for like the emotional aspect really shows well, because that was the other note I had, is that you are really good at internal monologue. Like you are able to not only show what a character is feeling, not by saying what they're feeling, but actually showing it, and you're able to like delve into that psychology of it as well, which I love. But you do so in a way where it's like, I don't know how to put it, but it doesn't leave room for any other like interpretation. Like you're so immersed in that character's perspective, whether that's an unreliable narrator or not. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
how you feel. You're feeling what that character feels, and that's how I felt reading the first part of the Daisel rescue. I was right there with Daisel. I was like, oh my god, Rupert's just done with him. Rupert like doesn't want him anymore. And then you come and tell me you're like, no, that's all a bit. That's all an
Yeah,
act.
because I remember coming in and you were telling me this. I'm like, I did tell you that like it's all fake. Rupert's faking it.
You told me and I forgot because Daisel's just that entrenched
Yeah,
in it.
because that's his reality.
Yeah.
And that's how good of a manipulator Rupert is.
Yeah. And that's how good of a writer you are.
Thank
Because you literally like, I was fooled. I was fooled right there with Daisel. You literally told me and I forgot.
Also, just for anyone listening, if I sound like I'm not saying much, I'm really bad at taking compliments.
Oh, me too.
So if we don't say much in between, that's part of it.
If I could use reaction images IRL, are those considered expressions? Yes, but if I could use reaction images IRL, it'd just be the fucking cat with the hearts all the time.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
yeah, I think those are definitely two things that stood out to me, and just like I said, that piece is really, it's really emotional and it's really well written. Like it flows very smoothly. Um, it doesn't get like sidetracked at any like parts. It doesn't lay on heavy with any like description. It's perfect. Like in my opinion.
Thank you. I will say, I think something that has really helped with the emotional aspect as well as that inner monologue is having worked on Pick Your Poison.
Mm.
Because a lot of with Mixed Dough is a lot of its inner monologue.
Oh yeah, that is true. See, I didn't think about that. But that's great then. That's pretty much all I had to say on that part.
Okay. So, next one. Also a Logan and Derek story. A-Pop.
Yeah.
AKA A Prince of Purity.
A promise of purity.
Promise of Purity.
Yeah.
I know at one point I think it was Prince.
Nope.
No.
It was always
okay.
promise.
Never mind then.
You're thinking of the podcast that you listen to.
Yes, I am.
Was it the Two Princes?
Yeah, it's the Two Princes.
Yeah.
And they do somewhat remind me of Logan and Derek a little bit, so it's not surprising I got wires crossed. Also, I've been here for a while and I've seen a lot of your AUs.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no. Promise of Purity. Royalty Core.
Yeah, this is one that some new people are discovering. I think it was either Might As Well Womp or Moth at Swamp commented and was like, ooh, I really love magic systems. I can't wait to see where this goes.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, because yeah, A-Pop has also been a baby.
Mm-hmm. I've seen it through its infancy.
Mm-hmm. A neglected baby. But like
it survived.
Not so much neglected, because I like A-Pop used to be the only thing that I worked on, believe it or not. Like it was like my main project. And then after everything happened with Ethan, I just was like, this has so many bad feelings connected to it. Like,
yeah. Which makes me so proud of you for picking it back up again.
Thank you.
Like, it's such a good story. Again, for me, what it comes down to is those core elements. Is Logan and Derek tiptoeing around each other until they can finally get together, but having that in between, the conflict, the social status, the social norms, the world building. Oh my god, the world building.
There's a lot for A-Pop.
Yeah. Which I am so excited to play in the D&D campaign, because I know it's taking place somewhat in an A-Pop esque.
It doesn't have the same magic system because that would
Yeah.
be way too lore heavy, but it definitely is in the same world.
Yeah.
I think I added Vedica and Helvin, which are going to be added to the new A-pop as well. But yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, no, again, just the fucking world building, the cultures, the I will say the plot. You've info dumped about it to me, so I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to say.
Yeah, I mean, everything that I've info dumped already is, just anything subject to change at this point.
Yeah.
Although, like, most of the core stuff is going to remain the same. I spent so fucking long trying to go through my Discords and my Google Docs to try and find. I know for a fact I typed out the outline that I info dumped to you at one point that specifically had that scene that was inspired by the School of Good and Evil movie.
Yes.
And I could not find it.
Oh my god.
I literally could not find it. So I'm like, okay, well, fuck me. I have to, do a new thing now.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I've talked about it a lot.
Yeah. I know.
And it's just gotten more fucked up.
Yeah, and I love it.
Yeah.
I also love, again, characterization. I love how coy everyone is with each other. Not necessarily in the sense of flirtation, but just the poking.
Yeah.
It's poking the bear and seeing just how far they can push it between each individual person.
The thing I love with this goes with the setting of A-pop is you're in a royal setting where, there are limitations. Like you have to be subtle. There's those court politics, like I think there's even a scene I wrote at one point where just Logan, like, making the decision to turn down a dance would have, like, diplomatic consequences. So everything is a lot more like you said, you have to be a lot more subtle and coy and, like, strategic about it. In fucking IC, like, it's a modern day world. Logan is not a king. He basically is a celebrity. He can do whatever he wants. He's the one that should be deplatformed.
But yeah, no, I love what you do with subtlety. You are very, very good at subtlety.
Thank you. It's one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
I mean,
also,
that's why I love Captive Prince.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm reading through the second book now, and I'm seeing little bits of Derek and Logan. But also, last but not least, David.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I know. David is a perk.
Yeah.
And that's the other nice thing about A-pop is that David was always meant to be kind of the main villain of that one. Like, Cassius was not a thing. So that'll be interesting. Because I still want him to be one of the main villains, but I also want Cassius to be in this one.
Yeah, I know you. I remember you info dumping about that whole situation.
Yeah.
Which
That's Kelly.
I'm not gonna talk about because if it does happen, like, that's gonna be fun. I want to see people's reaction to that.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to keep things a little down
vague
low about
yeah.
David. Yeah.
Yeah, I can simp for David. All you have to do is look at the man in royal garb, and that's enough said.
I mean, you did fuck him in the Four Families.
I did.
Well, he
twice.
Fucked you. Yeah.
And now we have the catfishing.
Yeah. That's right. Oh, underrated AU. Catfish AU.
Wasn't there also an RP we did where he was fucking Berkeley?
I think there was.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Damn. He's
Anyway.
So, well, thank you. I'm excited to see where A-pop goes. I've been working on a new plot outline since I can't find the other one. And I
think you might have handwritten it.
No. I know the handwritten one was the one. That was the one I spent like 2 hours on the phone talking to you about.
Okay.
That one is. I'm keeping some things, but I'm also changing some things.
Okay.
Because I felt like it sidetracked. So I think what I'm realizing is that, originally A-pop, when you read it, because 20 chapters of this exists without the magic, but still. And when you start off reading it, it's inspired by the scene in the first Captive Prince where, spoiler alert, Laurent gets drugged and Damon is there to help him fight off his attackers. So it's inspired by that, because the first scene of A-pop is Derek talking to Logan out on the balcony and basically being like, well, what if we were recording? Then you wouldn't have to deal with the sexual harassment. And he's like, you just want to manipulate me because our countries are at war and you want a political marriage. And Derek's like, what? No. And then at one point, Logan gets really, upset, obviously. And he fucking throws his goblet.
Yeah.
He's like, I think the line is like, well, that is going to happen to you after he throws the goblet. That's going to happen to you if you don't leave me alone. And Derek's like, I don't think you could throw me that far. But
I love the qualifier that far.
Yeah.
Not that he doesn't think Logan could throw him, just not that far.
He couldn't, but he's going to be nice. But after that, Logan basically ends up like getting really dizzy. He loses his footing. And this is a repeated trend, right? Because in IC, Logan also gets drugged. I have a problem.
So does Logan.
He's got a lot. But so he ends up, he loses his footing. Derek catches him and he's like, whoa, you're like really feverish. Like, are you okay? And Logan's like, I'm not feeling good. So Derek ends up taking him to his chambers and blah, blah, blah. The whole, like, the main focus of A-pop was always supposed to be the courtship. It was always supposed to be the courtship because, in some way or another, David agrees to let Derek court Logan, usually because he, like, saves his life or whatever. And it's the focus is always on their courtship, their enemies to lovers, but then also the external factors that are the conflict. Like, the fact that Frederick is also trying to court Logan. And now in this new iteration, Cassius is trying to court Logan. And if you've read the piece that I wrote on Cassius, bad thoughts all around.
I have not read I haven't read it yet. It's on my to be read, but there are a couple things on my to be read.
It's not a long piece. It basically delves into the fact that Cassius has the blessing of scrying. So he gets to scry on people. So it starts off with him scrying on his parents and his friends, realizing that, they don't like me, actually. And then, as he gets older, people find out that he's tainted. And so the townspeople are like, basically freaking out because Cassius is making people think that they've been possessed by like demons and whatnot. Because, he's in a silly, goofy mood. And so they band together to like storm his home and try to kill him. And his parents are going to let it happen. Like he scries on his parents, like plotting their own child's death because they're like, this child's fucked up. Like we don't want to deal with that. So, he kills them like off screen, but they 100% kills them. And then it cuts to him scrying on Logan, like very young age. Logan is 10, he's 13, and he's obsessed with this boy. It doesn't exactly go into why, but he's obsessed with this boy. He's scrying on him all the time. He sees everything that's happening. And then it gets to a point where they're at the Eternal Ball, which is kind of like where all the countries come together. And he meets Logan again. And for the first time, he's pissed because Logan is indifferent. He's basically just like, hello. Like just polite indifference. He's spending most of his time with Frederick because I know I have not talked about Frederick a lot on here, but Frederick is a sweetheart. He's my wet paper bag.
I think I remember vaguely about him.
Yeah.
He's the one that had the rat.
Yeah, he had the rat.
Yeah.
He's Victor's twin brother, but he's Victor's pathetic twin brother. Like nobody gives him the time of day. He's the weak one. Compared to Victor, who is obnoxious and strong and all, Victor's the jock, Frederick's the nerd, basically.
Yeah.
And so Cassius is pissed off and he's like, he wants to just like grab Logan by the hair and tell him like, I know all of these intimate things about you. I know things that even you don't know about you. But he can't
He's
do
gonna
that
hold
yet.
off.
Yeah,
He's gonna hold off.
one of the lines is like, like Logan was 10, Cassie's 13, and he already knew that as soon as Logan came of age, they were going to be married.
Mm-hmm.
So it was going to be his right anyways to watch Logan.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
But okay, so sidetracking too much with that.
Yeah. I will say that's pretty much all I had to say. I, again, not going too into it, but just, God, I love your A-pop world.
Thank you. Speaking of worlds I love, let's talk about Zeke and Omen. Is there a name for the story?
Enemy of mine enemy.
Enemy of mine enemy. E-O-M-E. Wait. Eomi. Eomi. I love the fucking world building, the setting, the vibe that you have for this story. Nothing has been written for this story as far as I know.
I almost wrote something for it, but I got a little bit of it. I might show you the snippet at some point.
Please do, because if nothing has been written for it, and I've only seen like the character art and like concept stuff, and I'm already in love with it. Like I want to read this story so badly. Omen is already my baby girl. I've already claimed him. He's like my new Mibium. Well, nothing could replace him.
No, I know.
But like I've already claimed him. There's not too much I can say because, again, there's not too much out about it, but just the concept in general of fucking demons and angels in space is like big brain. Oh, do you want to get out? Is Auntie Kelly making dinner?
Do you wish for freedom?
Do you wish for freedom? I think she does.
Do you want me to let her out?
Yeah, if you don't mind. Oh, wiggles. Oh, we're wiggling.
Why are we
Oh, kisses.
Oh, we slobber. Baby. What?
What? You're evading Dad from letting you out. Yeah, I'll just do that. A Peggy attack.
I will say we might want to pause and start the next session because it's almost an hour long.
Okay, gotcha. All right, pausing here. Alrighty, and we're back.
Okay.
And sip of water.
So.
All right. So yeah, Iomwi. That's what we said. Iomi. Iomi. Yeah.
Iomi.
Iomi. Yeah. That's a nice name. Yeah, like I said, I don't have too much to say on it. I'm just really fucking excited for it. Like I can't understate how excited I am for this. Like I already like I really want to see where this goes with you in particular because you are such a sci-fi buff. Like I really want to see your unique perspective when it comes to that. Because I like sci-fi, but my experience with it has been a bit more limited. Where I know like you watch shows like Babylon 5 and you know more of like, other sci-fi shows that I can't think of right now.
Star Trek.
Yeah, Star Wars and Star Trek.
Battlestar Galactica, the original.
Yeah. Have we both watched Doctor Who?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much been my main sci-fi experience. So I'm really excited for that, especially with your characters and knowing like your character dynamics. I'm hyped.
I know it's definitely going to be more. The closest I can compare it to is I want Zeke to be a Jack Harkness type.
A what type?
Like Captain Jack Harkness type.
What are you manifesting? I don't remember who that is.
He's the one that goes around flirting with everyone who is like.
Wait, where is he from?
He's from Doctor Who.
Oh, okay.
He's the one that Nine meets in like the gas mask. He's.
It's been so long.
Okay, yeah. If none of this is ringing a bell, none of it's gonna ring a bell.
No.
He's very flirty.
Oh, that was the other sci-fi one I watched, Firefly.
Yes, that's one I have not watched.
Fun fact, I binge watched Firefly because I was having an extremely bad panic attack / disassociation from reality. And my dad was like, "You want to watch Firefly with me?" And I was like, "I will literally do anything to get my mind off of this thing that I'm panicking about."
Yeah.
And so we started watching it, and then that became like my comfort show because whenever I was like up at night having a panic attack, I would just put on Firefly.
I know we've talked at some point. I would really like to watch Firefly with you
I would
because
totally rewatch it.
you know I love sci-fi. Sci-fi
Yeah.
is my thing, and very much like rogue bounty hunter type thing like that. That's my shtick.
I'd rewatch it. I'd make a Firefly of you. I'd do it.
But the reason I haven't watched it yet is what little sheltering my parents did do is they would not let me watch Firefly, and then when I did express an interest in it, they suggested against it because it had some triggering stuff in it.
Yeah.
But it would be triggering to me if I were watching it with them. If I were watching it with you, it would not be as triggering. Or if it is, I would be in a safe space to express it, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, for sure. And like we'd be able to like, stop it and like fast forward, hopefully.
Yeah.
If we can. I don't know how we're gonna get it. Maybe I can rope Kelly into watching it too. But yeah, so it gives me those vibes and I'm very excited, especially combined with your general creativity. Like I'm super hyped.
Thank you. I will admit the enemy of mine enemy is probably one of the stories that I am the most hyped about, which is part of why it's taking so long to get any content out. Is because
why don't you rubber duck with me?
I might.
You know, I have everything.
I have a couple ideas so far that I really want to rubber ducky because I will say I don't know how much wump I'm gonna put into it. A lot of anything that might be wumpy might be off screen because a lot of it's gonna be two characters shoved together and made to like each other.
We love that for them. Quick, personal advertisement. I'm the best. Are you licking the cords, Peggy?
Peggy, no.
No, you cannot lick those. She's giving me the glare. I'm the best person to rubber ducky with. Don't.
She's testing.
Peggy, stop sniffing the cords. Peggy, stop licking the cords.
Peggy, over here. What do I have?
Nothing.
I have pets.
I have pets.
I have pets. Now stop licking the cords.
That's such a parent thing to do. What do I have? What do I have? I have love and affection.
No, you cannot worm your way in. If you're gonna lick cords, you're not gonna go in.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, I'm the best person to rubber ducky because I just forget everything. You could literally give me all the spoilers and I'll just forget everything. Okay, thank you. Yes, you can go up there. Yes, that's fine. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, yes, you can go on Daddy's bed. But that's pretty much all I had to say. I'm very excited for it and you should tell me things.
Maybe at some point within.
Oh, we have abandoned Daddy's bed for Dads. I can't pay you anymore. You're too far away.
Because I have been having some ideas, so I probably will rubber ducky at you.
I will, just like you will sit my ass down and make sure I work on A-pop, I will sit your ass down and make sure you work on this.
That could be our writing pact.
That's going to be our writing pact.
Yeah. A-pop and enemy of mine enemy.
Yeah. Which, coincidentally have that in common. Enemies to lovers. But, yeah, that's all I had to say on that.
So, my third one, I know it sounds like a bit of a shitpost, but genuinely, Killer Robots AU has my entire heart.
Yes.
I fucking love that AU.
I do too. Like, well, obviously, I started a webcomic for it.
Yeah.
And it may be on the back burner for now, just because I want to focus on Sugar Jail. But I 100% intend to go back to Killer Robot because it needs to be a webcomic. Like that's the only way I can picture it.
Yeah. It works so well. Okay, maybe me showing my age, but I grew up on FNAF. I grew up on like hostile robots. I loved Detroit Become Human. I love fucked up animatronics. It's such a fascinating idea to me. And I love your spin on it being they're literally possessed by demons.
Yeah.
Made by some crazy.
Made by Vale.
Were they made by Vale or were they made by Mavic?
So Vale's the one that designed the robots.
Okay.
I don't know who specifically made the animatronics, but Vale came up with all the designs and the lore.
Okay.
I actually may have made Cal be the one that made the animatronics.
Okay.
I'm like repurposing him in this AU. Mavic's the one that put the demons into the robots.
I knew they had something to do with it.
Mavic's the one that's like, wouldn't it be funny if, you know?
So, yeah, no. I love the concept of it. And you know me, I love horror.
Yeah.
And I love the amount of horror that you have been able to put into it because it's fucking terrifying and silly at the same time. I love what you do with this AU. It's such a fun time while you're also screaming. It's like a roller coaster,
Exactly.
which makes sense because it's a rundown amusement park.
For anyone who knows me, you know that I love combining, I love dark humor. I love combining humor with wump, humor with horror. I just, giving it that little silly element. I just love that so much. And I feel like that is definitely apparent with this AU. Right from the get-go, where it's like introducing Derek and you could just see his hand like holding a little mannequin. It's like,
yeah.
there were a few times drawing the first pages where I had to dial it back for my sake.
Yeah.
I remember in particular there was one panel I wanted to have like Derek's teeth showing, and you could see the blood of the people that he just ate on his teeth.
Yeah, I
and
remember
you could
that.
also see their hair.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that might be a little too much for me. that might.
Yeah.
But it was actually thanks, I think, both you and Di that AU developed as much as it did. Not just because of your excitement for it and us like talking about it and going through like the specific scenes, but introducing me to the world of FNAF songs in particular. And like I had already known some video game songs, but I didn't know the full extent of them.
Yeah.
And then I found those like compilations, with the FNAF
I know there was
songs.
one I had sent you.
Yeah, it was one you sent me. So yeah, that really helped because I listened to those and I was like, ooh, this is the vibe. This is the fucking the FNAF, the Bendy and the Ink, like the vibe of this AU.
I also know, like, wasn't it another huge FNAF was a huge inspiration, specifically Sun and Moon, right?
Yes, it was Sun and Moon. Seeing Sun and Moon X reader fan art that inspired this AU. It was one picture in particular that it must be on my old blog. I reblog it twice because it lives in my brain rent free, where it is. I believe it's I don't remember if it's Sun or Moon specifically. I want to say it's Sun.
Are they wearing a hat or not?
I don't remember.
Okay.
But I don't think so. I think it was Sun.
Okay.
And it is this very like small, like, like self-insert, like U/N, Y/N, and just this big looming sun over them. And it's very affectionate. It's like, I think they're like giving them like a kiss or something. But just the immaculate vibes of that picture. My brain was like, I need that. and I need it specifically with Logan and Derek, and I need to make it happen. Now, my main thing at this point, my main challenge is that what I think I'm gonna do is I think I am gonna keep Derek's design as is, but his demon body is gonna have his real body type. Like the robot is gonna be the skinnier one, and then his demon form is gonna be his normal body.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about that, and I was like, do I change it? I've already like made pages and art and everything.
It makes sense for the robotic body.
Yeah, I think so. Because the robotic ones are supposed to be very exaggerated and very much like, for lack of better words, cliche. Like very public appeal kind of thing. Like, I mean, you look at Dirk's body and it's like...
Yeah. His tits just keep getting bigger.
It's like as big as his head. Yeah, big tits, super thin waist, big hips, which, you know, he does have, but not to that extent.
Yeah.
So...
Definitely some veil input there.
Oh, yeah. It's like, you just imagine, like, Cal designing it and be like, so, I want it to be, like, realistic, so that way he'd get... And Vale's like, but what if you just didn't? What if we made it more exaggerated? Cal's like...
It's that one post that's like, I can't go to my doctor and ask them to draw, like, Rouge as thick as she is tall, or something like that. Yeah. You could if you weren't a coward, and Val may be a coward, but not in that way.
No, definitely.
No shame.
So yeah, I think I think that'll be fun. Also, Teddy's meaty claws. I've been watching a lot of Unasada's compilations. Mm-hmm. That's one of my favorite bits where Mark is like, what? You need to... It's like the waxing one where he's like, you need to stop. You need to let me do this. And he's like, but stop doing it like that. He's like, doing it like what? With your meaty claws. But yeah, that's one of my favorites. If I had to choose my top 3 faves right now, it would definitely be like just in general. Like, don't get me wrong, I fucking love Sugar Jail. I'm making a whole ass webcomic for it. But just in general, Nala U, Killer Robot AU, and like well, yeah, I think Sugar Jail would probably be in my top 3s, honestly. Even though, you know, I think it's just because at this point I see an A-pop are a given, you know? Like, they're my babies. And also they've just changed a lot, but it's fun.
I will say, and this might sound a little weird, but I think Killer Robot's Teddy is one of my favorite iterations of the character.
The sex appeal of that man.
Look, I don't like Teddy in that way, but Killer Robot's Teddy.
Killer Robot Teddy could get it, though.
He can.
Just because of that one image.
It may be because I'm a monster fucker and like a robot fucker. But we don't gotta talk about it.
That's a different episode.
That's a different episode. But yeah, no, genuinely, the characterization for like Teddy and Cyrus, this... She was throwing a temper tantrum.
You having a tantrum? Hold on, let me give her some Peggy time. Keep talking.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that, like, they are some of my favorite iterations. I love the dynamic they have, and I love the afterwards that Cyrus kind of becomes a not shitty father figure to Logan.
Yes, that's one of my favorite things. Like, the Cyrus becoming Logan's adoptive father, I feel, is really sweet. And then also Teddy being default dad.
Yeah. This is the stepfather.
Like, that is one thing, and I'm trying to project so that way the mic can hear me, but that is one thing that I am really, really excited for the Killer Robot AU is the Cassius arc. The Cassius arc is going to be so fucked up and so traumatizing for Logan, but it's going to band together, like, his literal, like, found family, like, his demon family.
Yeah.
Like, at that point, all of them are like, no, this bitch is going down.
Yeah.
Like, and it's even Cyrus, who is an ex-priest, is trying to be reformed, is trying to put a what's the word? Pin? No. But is basically trying to tamp down those
Repress.
violent urges. Even he is like, Now Cassius.
Bitch needs to die.
I have not always been a nice man. I love how people went feral for that artwork. I think Z in particular was like so feral for that.
To be fair, already a lot of us go feral for Cyrus. I have had to rein in my Cyrus. I have substituted my Cyrus love with David love. Yeah, well, substitute is the wrong word, but I have had to pick my battle. I have had to pick my battles.
I love Cyrus's character so much, and also especially in the Killer Robot AU, he's so funny.
He's is
literally.
I genuinely, that comic of the you know which one I'm talking about is genuinely one of my favorite of your comics.
You just wanted to fuck the robot, didn't you? Don't call our love that. What love?
You make it sound so crass.
Yeah. You make our love sound so vulgar.
That's
just
what
like,
it is.
What love? What do you mean love?
What are you talking about?
No, but it's just so fucking funny. Just like I'd like kill and eat people, right? It's like, well,
we're not all perfect.
Yeah, we make mistakes. We are all made in God's image one way or another. Teddy's like, I'm literally not. I'm literally a demon. I'm literally from hell. But that is what I love. I love Teddy and Cyrus's dynamic. Not to keep going on this, but I also fucking love the... Are you having a tantrum again?
She was just doing...
I love the Bonnie and Clyde dynamic that Teddy and Dirk have in that AU. Because it's literally like, it's not that Teddy was any nicer to Dirk in that AU. He made him kill his family. He still made him like join the mob. He still abused him and all that. But it's just the fact that they're demons. It's basically like...
This is a Tuesday.
Yeah, it's like, fuck you, but also like, whatever. Like,
yeah.
It's so downplayed in a way that's just so funny to me. But anyways, so yeah, I think we definitely both love that one.
Yeah. I know that like some of my top favorites, and that's like up there in the top 5.
I'm seeing some on your list that I was not expecting.
Oh?
Honestly. Well, I see Giant Gods, but
yeah.
It's my turn. So,
yes.
So, I've already talked about how I claimed Omen as baby girl. But with that, Mibium, as you guys should all know, is my baby girl. He was probably, I think, my first comfort OC from JJ. And I have so many feelings about him. Because his backstory is so fucking tragic. Like, I don't think I could bring it to justice. I think I would get it very scrambled. But just the element of, like, trying to do the right thing and just have it blow up in your face. And like, just that and like, didn't he... Okay, so I'm like trying to remember, he loses someone very close to him, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
His first crush and his childhood friend.
Yes.
Due to his own doings.
Yeah. Because there's something... It has something to do with the rebellion, I think.
Yes. So what ended up happening was this childhood friend was part of the Angel Rebellion and thought Mibium would be a good fit. And so they came to Mibium asking him to like recruit into the rebellion. Yeah. And Mibium turned them in. Right, yes. Because he's like, oh, they're talking nonsense. The authorities will set him straight.
Mibium snitched.
Yeah.
And yeah, that did not end well.
And it ended up getting his friend killed.
Yeah. Which is just so like... Oh, that
Fun
already...
fact, that's the feather he always wears, is from his friend.
Yeah, that already just like hits me in the gut. But then knowing what happened to him afterwards, the fact that he was assigned a fucking gross slime monster man, who I also love, Octavian, and that, everything that happens between them there, and like the Mibium and Octavian one is so fucking delicious. I'm slamming them together in my mind,
I know, that's gonna be your Christmas present.
Yeah, that's what I asked for. But I don't have too much specific to say. It gives me a lot of emotions, and I really feel for Mibium. Like, I'm very attached to him as a character, and any story that he's in is a story that I like. And I think that I do love the Wump with him and Octavian. I think that the fact that he and Daisel end up together is just so perfect. It's what he deserves. It's what they deserve.
Yeah. I also, not to toot my own horn,
Please do.
but I love the similarities but differences that Daisel and Octavian have. Because objectively, they are very similar. And just like Mibium, objectively in some areas can be compared to Nox, but they are still so vastly different from the toxic other half that it makes it work.
She is really having a temper tantrum.
She is unhappy. She's like, you guys have been doing this for far too long. That face.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, no, like,
You are so baby.
I take pride in that. In just
I'm petting you. Why did you get up? I'm petting you. What? Why are you trying to leave the bed? No.
She's trying to get under here again.
Where are you going? Peggy! My goodness.
Peggy.
I don't know if the mic is going to pick up her tail.
I don't know. No, you can't go in the laundry.
Yeah, you were saying?
I was just repeating that, I really pride myself on the similarities and differences between, like, Octavian and Daisel and Nox and Mibium.
Oh my goodness. Such a temper tantrum. If I open the door, there's nothing for you. Kelly's in her room. Open it just to see. Oh, you just want attention. Oh my goodness. But yeah, that would be my third one. Is just any story with Mibium and Mibium's backstory and story with Octavian in particular.
Yeah. I know you're very fond of Berkeley and Octavian in particular as well.
Yeah. I more so enjoy yeah, I knew it would make a difference. I very much enjoy them separately as characters. And I love the direction that you've taken Berkeley, finding herself. But yeah, I think they're funny little fucked up pairing.
Yeah. Oh, she's eating your chair again.
Yeah, for the record, the silence is because we're watching Peggy to see
what she's doing.
Jinx, and she is currently gnawing on the back of my chair. All right. So, yeah, those were the three that I had actually planned out.
Okay. So, these ones I did not have planned out. It's just ones I wanted to touch on briefly.
Okay. I mean, is that fair? Because I don't have anything else for you.
I mean, I can just go. You don't have to make up.
Okay.
This is just kind of what I wanted to do for my organizational purposes.
Although I will say, Isaac. Isaac, I also don't know too much about him, but his design already is very daddy to me, so...
You drew him before he had a reference.
Yep. That's how you know.
But yeah, no, that's another story I haven't really talked about much. Currently it's going by Demon Mishap.
I'm curious to see what you do with the road trip horror story, if you ever do anything with it.
Yeah, I think I might incorporate some of the stuff that I want to do from that existential liminal horror into Zeke and Omen's story. Um, because if I were to do the like liminal horror and like just the existential dread for the Let's Take the Long Way Back, I know I would probably end up having to kill at least one character, and I really don't want to.
Yeah, no, I get that.
But I'd also have to come up with all new characters.
Yeah.
But I might, because honestly, I love horror. I have been trying to incorporate it somewhat into Pick Your Poison.
You're very good at it. I feel like your horror comes across the most in D&D because there are many falling feathers moments I will never forget that have been seared into my brain.
I know you mentioned one of the scariest ones was when the ink disappeared.
Yes. Y'all fucking like the one sentence horror story. The ink disappeared because Denise was like leaving ink behind to make sure he could find his trail, like his way back, and the ink just fucking disappeared. Like, I know it doesn't sound scary when I talk about it, but like if you were in the action, if you were in the role play, you would be freaked.
Yeah. And then you got carried away by a giant snake.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the description of having my heart carved out of me was super, super good.
Yeah. I know one of my personal favorites was you tearing out Berkeley's.
Yes, that was also really fun. Unhinged Denise.
Yeah. And then also, I gotta say, not to again toot my own horn, but I still hold up the Lady Macbeth Telltale Heart.
Yes.
I fucking loved that.
That was so iconic, honestly. God.
For anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, there was very early on, I think it was like session 2 or 3.
Oh yeah.
Emmett's character Denise had like taken a box that belonged to the other PC, who is like Berkeley's, for lack of better phrasing, familiar / daughter, and Berkeley ended up putting a curse on it, unbeknownst, that ended up where Denise was hearing Eliza's heartbeat every minute, and it was like hallucinating, and it sent him into a panic attack, and as he got more panicked, it progressed into more hallucinations, and then eventually ended up killing you, and Berkeley brought you back.
Oh, but let's talk about the time where Denise hallucinated the blood on his hands.
Oh yeah, that was the telltale the Lady Macbeth thing.
Yeah,
he came in and he went to talk to Dren, the NPC he was talking with, who's also his love interest. And he like was gripping onto him, and then he saw like blood on his hands, and then all over Dren where he had touched him. Like, it's so fucked up.
It was so fucked up, man.
And to this point, I had never done psychological horror as a DM. And I have since realized I think that is my strong suit.
Oh, yeah. It was so good. Like, it literally had my heart pounding in real time.
Yeah.
And it, like,
I know you did a comic for it at one point.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did a whole comic. I remember telling you also the session where Berkeley was chasing us throughout his home, throughout, like, the fucking labyrinth. That I told you, like, I'm getting anxiety, but it's not bad anxiety. It's like good anxiety.
Yeah.
It's like adrenaline.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 100%. Oh my goodness, baby.
But yeah, no. So, to kind of quickly go down my list, the 3 ones that I'm just briefly going to touch on, because they're in maybe not the top 5, but the top 10, is the Blood Bag AU.
Yeah.
Possibly for selfish reasons, because I just love the fucking concept, and I love having Nox slipped in there.
No, yeah.
It's such a fun idea, and I love the idea of the Happy Meals the
Yeah.
vampires, and just in general, and how fucked up it is, and I love it.
The aesthetic for that AU is one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, genuinely. Like that aesthetic and the Killer Robots aesthetic and like A-pop
Yeah.
are like right there.
Yeah.
And then also similarly, Giant Gods. I love the world building you have for that, and I told you I love the emotional impact of Wump a lot of the time, and the fact that you have literal frozen statues expressing that emotional Wump,
Yeah.
like, really gets me going. I fucking love that AU.
That one is super emotion heavy, specifically with Cassius, Derek, and Logan's storyline.
Mm-hmm.
You have like Derek's is also a bit emotional, but less so because he's kind of found his relationship with Malu. So his is kind of more of a fun, like, yeah, I'm like pretending to worship your dad, but I'm actually over by Malu's corner. So that's kind of fun. And then the Cyrus and Teddy storyline is just fucking funny to me. It's just like, it's supposed to be angsty because it's like, yeah, you know, there's like this whole revenge thing going on, but it's just funny, honestly. Yeah. So, but the Cassius and the Derek and the Logan storyline in that AU is so emotionally wumpy. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, I know I wrote one thing for it at one point. I was like, I'm gonna cry.
Yeah. I think I did cry when I read it.
Yeah.
But I also love the green and gold AU.
Yes.
I love, again, the world building for that. I love the world building. I love the characterization. I love the story, and I love the Wump for it. I love that because it's like what is it? Not the blood bag. Blood matches, but on steroids.
Yeah.
Literally. But yeah, no, I love the concept of it. It's not necessarily in the top, again, not necessarily the top 5, but it's definitely like top 10, top 15.
Aside from the world building and some like the character designs, which really slap for that AU, the one thing I really love is that it gives me an excuse to indulge in not safe for Wump. So, you know.
Yeah, I gotta say that is a perk. And then some honorable mentions I wanted to go into was, again, Seal the Deal. The Nalayu.
Yes.
I love the aesthetics for that. It's not necessarily one that I interact with a lot. I think it's interesting, but it's not one that can really hold my interest, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I genuinely find it so fascinating, and I love the aesthetic of it. And of course I have to mention Angel on the Wall. Yeah. Again, it's one that I love. Angels and Demons, I love them. They're my thing. I gravitate towards it. David. But I especially love what you've been doing with the Champion Derek.
Yes, I'm having a lot of fun with that.
Yeah. I haven't read the newest ones, and I just remembered that I have not read the newest ones. I have to read those. But I love the Champion Derek arc. I love just kind of the emotional torment.
Yeah.
So it really does kind of like hit me. And again, just
I gotta stop the recording for just a second. All right, we're back. Sorry about that.
What was I saying?
Angel on the Wall.
Yeah, that I love the concept of it. I love the emotional gut punch. I love the world building. I especially love, oddly enough, I love the part of the AU you had at one point about Dirk.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was fascinating.
Oh yeah, that one was real heavy.
But yeah, I gravitate towards Angels and Demons. Another one that I might mention is a bit of a newer one. Is, I don't know what it's called yet, but the gambling one, where Derek's the angel. Yeah,
the capitalist heaven and hell.
Yeah, capitalist heaven and hell. I love that one. I know it's purely indulgent for smut, but I love it.
Listen, there's plot there. There's one there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised at the reception that one got. So, as someone asked if I would do more with it, I haven't had any ideas for it. But
Yeah.
you guys know how this works at this point. I'll cycle back.
Dragon Horde you. I forgot Dragon Horde you. That's also, again, top 10, top 15. Like, there's so many AUs I love of yours. But again, like, I see A-pop and Killer Robots are like my top 3.
I'm curious what HM is.
Honorable mention.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
that's why it doesn't have a dash next to it.
I didn't see that. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, it. I'm not sure how to describe it because, like, it's already like really awesome that there are people online that I like don't know or don't know as well who look at what I post and they're into it. But having like your best friend, like someone like really close to you who's, like it just hits diff. Like to just know that there are things that you enjoy and things that you interact with. Like I genuinely was shocked at the list that you brought. So it feels really nice.
Yeah. And I know I haven't had much to say back to your compliments, but like, yeah, no, I definitely take to heart like what you were saying, especially about the Dazel rescue and the characterization. I'm so looking forward to Zeke and Omen's story. Like, you're probably going to be the first to know about it.
Good.
But yeah, no, I haven't had too much to say, but it does hit diff.
Yeah. I think that's everything we had to talk about then.
Yeah.
Which is great because it's hot in here and I'm sweating. So thank you guys for listening. I don't have any catchphrase for this one. Unless you want to come up with one.
Firefly?
Yeah. If you made it to this point in the podcast, make sure you comment Firefly down below. Sure, you'll get a doodle.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can offer.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys for listening. Hope you all have a great day or night wherever you are, and peace.